All right, my name is Hiram Shelton. This is my second video for the victim advocates with the Utah County Sheriff's Office. And today the video is on collaboration and conflict resolution. So just an introduction here. For collaboration, effective advocacy requires cooperation with a range of professionals, legal teams, law enforcement, and counselors. So a key to success here is that clear communication, mutual respect, and shared objectives are critical in teamwork. In the first video, we talked about more about understanding ourselves and the victims. And basically what we're looking for here is actually kind of just a deeper thinking about how we react with the professionals how we interact with the professionals that we work with. So building collaborative relationships. So for effective partnerships, working together for the victim's benefit requires respecting each other's expertise. Example here is that victim advocates collaborating with law enforcement to ensure victims are protected and informed throughout the investigation. What I want to focus on here in this, for this point here is that police officers are doing their job as they're trained. And it's important that we see them as doing their job the best that they can. They are trained to come in with this perspective of basically like a referee, where the suspect and victim are it's a real gray area. They're not sure who is to blame and who needs help, and they have to be so skeptical of everything and in every point in order to get the story correct. And so they don't want to come in and assume really anything. And so it's our job as the victim advocate to allow them to do their job and not really judge them or think harshly of them for trying to be that referee, even when, for our sakes, the victim is normally very obvious. And so we do our jobs by allowing ourselves to help those victims and be there for those victims. And it's okay for us to see police officers doing their job, even though it's different and they do it differently than us. So the role of communication and collaboration. So key communication skills. Advocates must communicate effectively with both victims and professionals. Example, a victim advocate clearly explains the legal process to a victim, ensuring they understand their rights and options. Now, we work with law enforcement officers, but we're also going to work with legal teams and other professionals. It's important that we are advocating for the victim. We're advocating for the victim at all times, but also that we are working with people, because it doesn't actually help victims if we are difficult to work with when working with other professionals. So active listening for conflict resolution. Active listening. So we got focusing on the speaker, understand their message, and responding thoughtfully. Conflict resolution means it's listening to all parties in a conflict to find common ground and resolve issues. And the example here is an advocate resolves a family dispute by ensuring both sides feel heard and respected. Another example I want to add here is that if we have trouble with law enforcement or a legal representative who sees things differently than the victim, we have to be able to see things from a common ground. We need to be looking for common ground and being able to advocate for the victim as best we can and supporting them. But again, it doesn't do them any good if we are butting heads so hard with another professional that we kind of lose grasp over the common ground areas. Next slide. Strategies for conflict resolution. So approaches here are active listening, empathy, reframing, and focusing on common goals. The example here is when conflicts arise between victims and family members, an advocate uses mediation techniques to help all parties feel validated. So in these scenarios, we kind of do need to take this referee role, where we're looking at kind of what is right and what we can do best for everyone to meet common ground, to come to agreements. And obviously we're going to fight for the victim and be on their side and fully have their back 100%. And I'm not suggesting we do anything else, but I am suggesting that that we find common ground, and that we are open to working with professionals, and being okay when they disagree with us, and being okay with simply just having disagreements with others, I guess. Next slide. So the role of empathy in conflict resolution. Empathetic mediation is understanding the emotional needs of all parties involved. All parties involved is crucial to resolving conflict. So the example here is: an advocate helps mediate a situation where a victim's family struggles to understand her emotional distress, guiding them toward mutual understanding. So emotional needs are a little deeper than just work. It's understanding that a lawyer is going through it. They have their own personal struggles and pains. They might be worried that if they if they don't win this case, they might lose business. Things like that. And understanding that people have these struggles, these personal struggles, is going to help us see things through their eyes, and it's going to help us find common ground. Managing challenging relationships. So strategies for difficult conversations. So techniques such as setting boundaries, staying calm, and prioritizing understanding. And then there's also the example here: an advocate who remains calm in a high-stress situation, helping the victim and their family navigate a difficult conversation. So it's really important that we are setting boundaries. As much as we want to be there for the victim 100%, we have to set these boundaries with victims if we are going to help them as best as we can. As strange as that sounds, it helps the victim more to have these boundaries in place than it does to have no boundaries and allow them so far into our lives that it can actually impede our work, our sleep, our basic needs. So conflict resolution in the context of advocacy. So we have a specific advocacy context. Conflict resolution can occur between advocates, victims, and service providers. An example here is resolving disputes between a victim and a shelter provider over accommodations, ensuring the victim's needs are met. We're going to run into conflicts with everywhere, right? I'm sure you're very aware that conflicts arise with every professional. They can even arise between us and victims, right? So it's important that we are always looking at ourselves. Using the last video where I discussed, we have to be looking at ourselves first, understanding how we are seeing others, and then also being able to see how others are feeling and trying to see through their emotional lenses, and then being able to find common grounds with these people, and of course making sure that the victim needs are met. So the role of the advocate as a mediator. So advocates as mediators, advocates frequently act as neutral parties, facilitating communication between victims and other organizations. A mediator who helps a victim's family understand her choice to leave an abusive relationship. Now, this is kind of a strange word, mediator, because it seems almost like you're not on their side, more in the middle. But really, a mediator in this context is someone that can facilitate arguments, who can facilitate difficult conversations. We need you to actually to sit down, see eye to eye with the people that these victims are having a tough time talking to. If it's explaining to a family of a victim why they need to leave an abusive relationship, we need you to be able to kind of not be side by side with the victim, but actually stand as their representative in a way, and be able to have these conversations that for probably a long time they haven't been able to do themselves. And so being able to stand as a representative and protect them, and be able to speak with words that maybe they don't have, is extremely important. So just a recap of collaboration and conflict resolution. The importance of active listening, empathy, and clear communication for building collaborative relationships and resolving conflicts. Again, we're going to run into conflicts everywhere. We're going to run into conflicts from victims and their families, from victims and the police and lawyers. We're going to run into all sorts of conflicts. And so it's important that we understand how to again, not just from the first video where we're able to look within ourselves, but also see things from others' point of view, see things from their emotional lenses, see through what the troubles that they're facing, and how they're viewing scenarios, how they're viewing people, and being able to find common ground. We want to be able to protect and help these victims as much as we can, and we can only do that through being able to find those common grounds and working with others and collaborating with others, even if we don't always see eye to eye. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll come out with the next one very soon.